The canvas behind me bears the unmistakable hallmarks of F N Souza's artistic style. If the scene seems familiar, it's because this work was inspired by Caravaggio's remarkable 1601 painting, The Supper at Emmaus, which portrays a well-known biblical episode and is housed at the National Gallery in London. As the New Testament story goes, on the third day after the crucifixion, a disciple of Jesus and his companion encounter a traveler on their way to Emmaus. They invite him to dine with them. But at the moment he breaks bread, they realize that their guest is the resurrected Christ. F N Souza was raised in a devout Catholic household in Portuguese-ruled Goa. By his own admission, he was fascinated by the grandeur of the church and earnestly participated in its ceremonies as a child. Though his faith later turned into disillusionment as he came to view the institution as corrupt and hypocritical, the influence of the church on his art was actually undeniable. Biblical narratives, religious figures, and priests appear repeatedly in his work as a means to critique the institution's power. It's no surprise then that he was drawn to this subject, one that captivated not only Caravaggio but also old masters like Rembrandt and Velázquez. While Souza revisited The Supper at Emmaus multiple times from the 1950s, the present lot is especially intimate and striking. The figures are life-size, and when you approach the painting, you are thrust into the middle of the scene, which captures the very moment that Christ reveals his true identity. Souza employs a medieval compositional structure, heightening the scene's tension by placing Christ at one end of the canvas and the disciple and his friend at the other. While Souza's depictions of Christ from the 1950s and 60s were often malevolent and densely cross-hatched, the artist presents him here without distortion. Christ is outlined in thick black contours, his frontal gaze evoking a sense of awe. This technique of figuration, borrowed from Spanish Romanesque paintings, is typical of Souza's style. Christ's piercing gaze confronts the viewer, yet his eyes appear empty, perhaps suggesting a divinity beyond human comprehension. One disciple looks on in wide-eyed astonishment. The other remains unaware of the miracle unfolding before him, his closed eyes suggesting intellectual blindness. The bold lines also recall the work of French artist Georges Rouault, a devout Catholic who frequently painted Christ and biblical scenes. These varied influences recall John Berger's famous remark that Souza straddles many traditions but serves none. Like Souza's still lifes, this painting alludes to the Christian sacrament of the Eucharist. A chalice sits before Christ with the communion wafer elevated above it, signifying his presence in the flesh. Symbolism permeates the composition and reinforces the spiritual theme. The white tablecloth represents purity, the eggs, resurrection, and the fish, one of the earliest symbols of Christianity. Rather than using the canvas as a mere surface for technical mastery, Souza transforms it into a pictorial text, painting with minimal texture to emphasize the power of the scene itself. Bid on works by Souza and other notable modern and contemporary artists at our 25th anniversary sale on 2nd and 3rd April 2025.